Welcome back to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network. We're talking about IT modernization. We're just getting ready to start talking about priorities. I'm going to ask Nancy, you to start us off. Give us the top priority that you are focusing on this year at the IRS.
Thank you. I'll get right to it. Although we have lots of priorities like building a strong team, moving from paper to digital, protecting our data through cybersecurity, and strengthening our technology. You all have probably read the news though. The IRS is currently facing a large inventory of tax returns waiting to continue processing due to several factors, including the pandemic. Right now, our top priority is digitalization, moving away from paper and figuring out how to do that in flight. In fact, we have an inventory of more than 10 million electronically filed returns that contained errors and require a manual review of the return information so that we can continue processing it. We're achieving our improvements in the digitalization space through our top priority of our enterprise case management system and modernizing our core tax processing system where your data is stored, the individual master file. Both of those are foundational to helping IRS manage taxpayer accounts, ensuring timely service to our customers. I won't go into our other top priorities that I mentioned previously, but I would say data all in all the time in an electronic fashion.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. John, Verizon, top priority for you this year.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. You know, when you think about the number of things happening in the ecosystem, you need to find a top priority that can really help to impact all of these items at the same time. So Nancy mentioned security. We've talked a little bit about EIS. Soldenise, you mentioned mobile applications, right? Everything moving to the edge. So I think really the biggest priority for Verizon is how can we continue to build out and modernize the 5G ecosystem and the infrastructure that's providing these technologies so that everyone can take more advantage of this service. You know, 5G is not just a faster smartphone. It's not just being able to download a movie on your device quicker. It's truly the foundational element that allows a lot of these technology and innovative solutions to really come to life. It enables movement from device to device. It enables applications to perform better. It gives us access to data in places we never thought we would have access to data before. And in many cases, 5G is actually starting to transform what we would have thought of as traditional, maybe even wired infrastructure into more of a wireless environment. It's scalable, it's more consumable, and it's something that we can really accelerate timeline to deployment for a number of agencies. So you've seen a lot of things in the news from the end of this year, early this year around deployment of C-band and really pushing 5G forward. That is a critical priority for us, is to get these services out to expand this ecosystem and continue to push evolution into that 5G world.
5G all the time, everywhere. Jamie, how about U.S. Patent and Trade Office? Number one priority for you this year.
Well, Luke, I love the way you brought it up because priorities are essential for operations. The thing about the government is compliance, working with lawyers, is the fact that lawyers don't have to actually execute, but operational people have to actually take these ideas, these rules and regulations, and figure out which one to do first. Because if you did everything, you'd be doing nothing. So I always have a top three, but you asked for the top one. And if anybody knows me, cyber. And why is that? One of the things about the Patent and Trade Office that I'm learning over the last 3 years, we have a problem with fraud. We've had a problem forever with fraud. Here's a little statistic. 15% of all apparel sold within the United States, handbags, clothes, whatever it might be, 15% are fraudulent. They're actually fakes. So I am trying to get those tools in the hands of the examiners, in the hands of the operational folks who enforce our intellectual property to ensure that fraud goes down. And it's a solemn duty. Cyber. I'm sort of Jekyll and Hyde in that way too for data. Before it gets to us, it's open and public. when it's in our care, that patent pending is so sacred. We have to prevent anybody from getting it. However, when it's awarded or rejected, we have to make sure the whole world knows and knows why. So I'm black and white, I'm Jekyll and Hyde. We have to be really secure. One of the big things too is pendency. We got to get this through the chute quicker with great quality. Cyber, 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 kill the fraud.
Gotcha. Very important life cycle there. Interesting as well. Nick, Pure Storage, number one priority for you.
Luke, extending scale to address growth in data, the interconnectivity between on-premises and commercial cloud, and improving the user experience to make the underlying technology invisible, and the acquisition model to make it easy for customers to adopt and sustain a modern data infrastructure. We call this the modern data experience, facilitating digital transformation, and it is and it remains our number one priority. And as was stated earlier, modernization is the journey. It's ongoing and continuous. So innovation in those areas will continue to drive how we develop and deploy technology going forward to support our customers.
We really do appreciate that. Scale it and also make it available from an acquisition standpoint. So Denise, number one priority for you over at INA this year.
Yes. So you say one, let me work up to that one, Luke. So agile transformation and continuing to mature in that journey, customer service and the user experience and enhancing that, leveraging data in order for Intel analysts to be able to produce more timely intelligence products. Also, our cybersecurity executive order, that's something that we're all prioritizing, zero trust, shifting security to the left and what that actually means to support agility. Also moving to the cloud, continuing on our cloud transformation, which we've had a lot of progress in, but it's also a journey. And I say all these things because, like Jamie was saying earlier, it is a mindset. It is managing the people and the change. So I think my number one priority would be kind of bucketed in three different foundational aspects, which is investing in the people. The way we do technology is not the way we used to do technology. So really investing in the people and helping to manage that change. Also investing in creating the culture that we need to create in order to be able to do IT differently. And then finally, the partnering. Partnering, we are the enablers of our mission. However, we have to work with a lot of different people in order to deliver successfully. So strengthening our partnerships across all of those different stakeholders. So IT modernization, it is a journey, absolutely. I think it's the people behind the journey that make the success possible.
A constellation of activities going on there all at once. So hats off to you. Nicholas, number one priority for Snowflake.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. So, listening to everybody else talk here, data, we're all in, talking about 5G technology. We're talking about cybersecurity. We're talking about all that stuff. And the reason we're talking about those things is because every agency that's on this call and in this country is focused on their mission, but their mission is not solo, right? You have a mission, but you have a joint purpose. One of my favorite stories was the USDA uses NASA imagery to count cattle. Like when I found that out, I had to stop for like 5 cups of coffee. Like that kind of collaboration in the government is absolutely amazing. That's our top priority, to keep driving those multi-cloud, multi-agency data collaboration. Every time we build an agency sharing with another one, an angel gets its wings.
Fantastic. And we really do appreciate all the effort. Well, we're going to wrap it up with this last question that I love to ask. John, we're going to start with you at Verizon. Tell us what it's going to look like in 2 to 3 years. You're talking about 5G. Is 5G going to be fully rolled out at that point? Is there going to be a 6 or 7G? What's it going to look like? What's the experience going to be 2 to 3 years from now?
Yeah, it's such an interesting question. I think what I would say is that likely what I hope everyone will notice is that you won't notice anything at all. I think 5G will become, Nick, you may have said it earlier, that invisible layer underneath so much of what becomes our daily life. When we think about 5G and you think about what it will ultimately empower, I think about it in more of a smart city, smart community, smart building, smart campus type of an environment. how do we start to get more and more of the information pushed to the edge? How do we start to get more and more connectivity into all of the devices and all of the things around us to help enable simple decisions, to help enable citizen safety, to help enable things like trash collection or traffic flow or zero fatalities across a particular city or a particular campus. So I think what you'll see is more and more invisible connectivity that empowers us to make better decisions, empowers us to move information faster, and really helps us to fuel more mission outcomes and more citizen and user experience in ways that we have not really even thought about yet today, right? When you think about 4G, when it was launched, we didn't have a lot of the technology we take for granted today. I think 5G and inevitable ongoing technology innovations will help push us further and further down that road.
Fantastic. Really unlocking a lot of capability there. We're all excited about that. Nick, how about a Pure Storage? What's it going to look like 2 to 3 years from now?
So great question, Luke. We're seeing some fundamental changes in how technology is leveraged and how we deploy capability to customers and particularly to end users. So, we're going to obviously need increasing scale, performance, and ease of use to support digital transformation and IT modernization to drive a fundamental transformation in digital experience. And this is going to be driven largely by containerization and the implementation of AI and machine learning, and enabled by the rollout of 5G capability. So there will be more bandwidth, more data, more things creating and consuming data. What this is going to require, just for everybody to be able to keep up with it and leverage it properly, is simpler applications, more scalability and portability across infrastructure and location, and largely invisible to the user. And then a mindset change as well, to Soldenis's point. It's regarding IT as a portfolio of services and capabilities, as opposed to a collection of components. And the last and biggest challenge that's probably not appreciated is the shift in mindset in the acquisition community. It's slower, it's bounded rigidly by statute and regulation, but the cloud consumption model threw the entire acquisition community for a loop, because for literally centuries, the government bought things and owned them outright. So the whole idea of subscribing to something, not even leasing it, just blew people's minds. And it took 8 or 9 years, and we'll give the cloud service providers a tremendous amount of credit for this, 8 or 9 years of cooperative work to figure out how can the government acquire things and use them that it does not own. Is it safe? Is it secure to do that? Could it potentially compromise data? Will it compromise operations? I think that we're going to simply regard that mechanism of acquisition as de rigueur. But that's fundamentally transforming also how the government can adopt technology, modernize, and then sustain that capability. So, portfolio of services that addresses capability needs as opposed to boxes that fill data centers, but acquired in a way that is really novel for government customers to approach.
Consumption-based capability. When I used to have these discussions with the acquisition folks, I'd say, hey, look, we buy electricity by the drink every day, so I know we can do this. Snowflake, Nicholas, talk to me about what's it going to look like in a couple of years. You're leapfrogging, trying to stay ahead of this curve of collecting all this data, analyzing it. What do we see in 2 years?
Well, so we decided to call me Nicholas for this. So I'm the extended version of Nick Zaki. So I'm going to continue his chain of thought there. I'm kind of like part 2 of his response, because I think, when I think about where we're headed and what I want to see happen in a couple of years, confident accomplishment is kind of the buzz phrase that I'm going to use for this. And because of this, every agency that collaborates with another agency and gets the right data from the right people to make that right decision, that makes everybody better when that happens. And that's something that Snowflake necessarily has to do. We're an enabling technology, but the policy side of this and the people side of this, we're already on board. This is already happening. We're just sort of a great enabling technology on top of that. But the other side of that too, Luke, is transparency. When I have all of the data that I use to make a decision, I can be more transparent with the citizenry to tell them why I made that decision or why I gave that guidance or why I didn't choose in a certain way. So I think better transparency, better decision-making, better data management and operations. That's where we're going to be.
Fantastic. We all look forward to that. Soldenise, you talked about a lot of different things there. If I'm a freshly minted intelligence analyst or somebody sitting in a fusion center in a state, what's my experience going to be in a couple of years?
So my vision for the next 2 to 5 years would be we are going to cultivate a culture of extraordinary leadership across the different cross-functional areas that really contribute to the successful delivery of mission enablement. I believe that is going to result in stronger partnerships. I believe it's going to result in agility across a CIO organization. Again, that takes a lot, the business management aspect of it, the cyber aspect of it, the data, as well as the infrastructure side of it, and the services side of it. I believe we will be in a better place to leverage data as an asset. We will be in a better place to deploy systems more rapidly and securely. And near and dear to my heart, because I've been in the Intel community for so long now, I believe that we are going to see more mobility as it pertains to our classified systems and classified processing, especially for what I consider our warfighters in the field as it pertains to the Department of Homeland Security. Back to you, Luke.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's such a barrier to push through, and it's such an enabler to have that type of capability into the operator's hands. So hats off to you. Jamie, if I'm filing a patent in 2 to 3 years, what's that experience going to look like? What's the dream 3 years from now?
So the vision is better, cheaper, and faster. Obviously, we have pendency goals, and those things are the time that you submit to the time it's awarded or rejected. Since I've been there 3 years, it went from 22 months now down to 18 and a half months. Metrics count. So in 3 years, can I get that down to 12 months? I'm hoping. At the same time, you don't want to lose the quality. Now, 3 years is a great planning horizon. If people tell you that they can do a 5-year plan, I will call the flag. Sorry, it is truly wrong, because every 3 years is when technology changes. So I've been through a generation of technology at the PTO. 3-year planning horizons are great. And when we think about it, I started with hybrid and I'm going to end with hybrid. At the end of 3 years, we will have figured out what we're going to do in the hybrid workforce. This has ramifications for commercial real estate, the use of our land, the ability for people now not to be concentrated in a single city, but rather to be spread out throughout, such that we're not as vulnerable as we once were to bombing and terrorism and so forth. It's an amazing time to be alive. And what I'm saying is we will look completely different in 3 years. And what we're doing right now is affecting that. I could go on forever, especially pushing that button of procurement. We have to challenge the status quo. It doesn't make sense, the rules that we're operating under. There's no sense of urgency. There's no speed to procurement in the spirit of, well, we have to give everybody a chance. Yes, at the same time, these frivolous protests are killing our sense of urgency. We got to change the procurement system. You can tell that it pushed my button. So I'll be part 3 on that. Change procurement, challenge the status quo. Back to you, Luke.
Thank you very much, and really do appreciate the passion there. Nancy, you've been at the IRS for a just incredible journey, doing a lot of different roles there. You talked at the top of the show about sort of referencing what you'd like to see, what you're imagining, what you're going to realize in a couple of years. Tell us what that looks like.
I was trying to recover from Jamie sharing that CIOs have a BS flag, right? I mean, Soldenise and I just kind of chuckled because I was thinking I was the only one who got one of those when I became CIO. So as you said, I have been with the Internal Revenue Service for a long career. And I joke with my team that I think I've had every job there is in IRS. I'm thrilled to be the CIO now. My vision is a little different. My vision is about our people. We will have technology professionals that have a variety of skills work when we need them to work from where they want to work. Let's face it, our careers and our lives in this day and age are integrated. We talk about integrating technology. I talk about integrating how we deliver technology. So my vision is a very, very strong workforce with many skills, delivering the work that they want to, and having contracting partners on that journey with us. And I think everybody knows that the IRS has a lot of really complex technology, complex tax rules, complex processes, right? No matter where we are, our environments are complex. We support a lot of different types of business functions within the IRS, external agencies like the Department of Education, HHS, international tax agencies, FEMA, and others. We will build a strong workforce where we need the people, where they want to be. We'll continue modernization all the time. If we can talk about changing the customer experience, we will continue to do that. We will continue to move to a paperless IRS operation. We'll focus on modernizing as fast as we can with the funding that we're given. We'll create greater self-service options and continue to improve our technology environment. We'll move away from talking about becoming modernized to being a modern technology shop delivering modern services. And if I haven't said it yet, I'll remind everybody, Internal Revenue Service IT is hiring, and we are one of the coolest places to work. We have every challenge we can imagine and every opportunity. We are in the news, right? Doesn't matter why you're in the news, as long as you're in the news. So I'll make my pitch for workforce of the future and what a great place the IRS is to work. From a career civil servant who's been here a very long time, it is a fantastic place to work.
Well, hats off to you, and thank you very much. And thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy services, busy schedule, and providing all those goods and services and just serving, right? Each and every one of you doing everything that you do every single day. I'd also like to thank the sponsors for supporting us on the show. I'd like to thank the good people here at Federal News Network that make our program so successful and enjoyable. And most of all, I'd like to thank the listening audience out there that tune in every month. You're listening to the Federal Executive Forum on Federal News Network.